Wayne Hoffman once again bringing a few things to attention. Tonight, after a conversation with a loved one who had been doing a lot of fucked up and illegal shit behind my back, I understand why now. And it stems back from further than I realized. So, 2016 to 2017, I was employed by a painting contractor called Colorspiration LlC. Keith Merendino was my boss. So were Shela Merendino, who I later found out ran the company. Everything seemed fine at first. The money was a little iffy, but I figured it was money issues, you know. Some companies, you gotta give them the benefit of the doubt. My job title was painting pretty much a lot of things. First was an injury, an on-job injury. I had a broken hand. It still is broken. Went to Atlantic Care for it. Explained to him, you know, don't worry about it, this, that, etc., so on. Okay. Go to work because I don't have a choice. Start doing stuff around here, but we're putting insane hours in. Well, I mean insane hours. Like 111 Dudley Ave was a job we did. It's like 15 hours, which is absurd. Later on, I find out a few things. Keith had a drug problem that I did not know, and he had it very, very well. Keith has a lot of ties and affiliations with things. I did my job, didn't get involved with their horse shit, but we started working in Pennsylvania. While working in Pennsylvania, he rented a room for 7 guys staying for 33 days in PA, which I don't even know if there was a contract or licensed to do work out there. We did. It was absurd, crazy, and the same crazy hours. I still did it because unfortunately in my situation I had no choice. I had nothing or no one to help me essentially. My hands started getting worse. I had problems, etc., so on, and I had a few issues. There was a gentleman by the name of Timothy Riley who worked with me. Good kid. I kind of took him under my wing, you know. Honest, drug-free, drama-free, played video games. We had a lot in common, and I seen a lot of me in him. So we were close enough where I looked at his check, he looked at mine. We had the same dependents, same this, same that, etc. Taxes were taken differently, moved out differently, and set differently. Timmy's like, shit, you're right. I bring this to the owner's attention. Shela Merendino. While there was a gentleman named Jared Ganiel and Timothy Riley in the car. I bring up the tax issues. Wow, this is terrible and long drug out, and this is going to blow people's minds. This involves a lot of criminals. She's like, I noticed the same thing, Wayne. You know, I'll look into it. Please do. It's not right. Got to the point where in PA we're not receiving money. I'm like, Keith, what's going on? No money. Then sits here, him and a guy named Dante Jones. Known criminal. Hangs with Dante, and from what I seen, looked like they did stuff behind people's backs. Because I've caught Dante robbing homes personally. I'm not involved in it. It doesn't affect me. You do your life is how I say it. I don't need that mess. So everybody else in PA doesn't want to deal with Keith, Dante, etc. They wanted to go out after work, go to TGI Fridays, you know, and they'd play the Wayne, can you put in towards such and such. Tell you what, if he were here right now, there'd be a major issue. With that being said, you have a cigarette, Toni. Anyhow, with that being said, PA started getting bad. Also, there was a point where Keith and Pat Brennan, who I recently found out passed, you know, he's deceased. We were best friends growing up. There was incidents where we were in Gettysburg, PA, left, like, Keith went out with his wife, went out to cheat on his, these cats. Went out with his friend and screwed around, I found out later on. Leaving us in Gettysburg with no money, no nothing, no food. 3 days. It was I, Timothy Riley, Jared Gagniel. Keith called his wife, Sheila, who came up, and I said, enough is enough, I need food, I'm going on a 2.5 day. She went to Sheetz, bought a gringo burger, if I remember correctly. And she brought her friend, whatever her name is, Keith, you know, would you fuck her, would you do this, that, etc., so on. And Keith was getting very close to me, and I didn't know why. Sheila said it was because he wanted to be friends. So, with that being said, I didn't have transportation at the time of my own working and running. I still live in Atlantic City at 46 North Connecticut, apartment 101. Keith or Pat would drive me home. Eventually I found out Keith was either going there being promiscuous or buying something off of somebody. Because 4:30 in the morning I had a car pull up, which was Sheila. Sheila and I had a huge blowout. Cats. Had a huge blowout. Please forgive this cat's running around. With that being said, she would come to me. Example, we worked in a house in Hamilton. I saw that there were paw marks on a carpet. It's a brand new house. The paw marks, I assume, were from her dog, a Rottweiler that she brought to every job, etc. Sean was with me at the time. And I simply explained, dude, that looks like paw prints. And he's like, yeah, we should clean them up, take pictures to show Keith so we're not liable. Sheila came up to the job and found out about it a couple days later. Come up to me, quote unquote, saying, you want to play fucking games with me? I got your game. I'm like, all right. Doing real fucked up shit. Just saying stuff that made no sense. Nobody played a game with the woman, and we're trying to help them out so liability does not fall. Well, I am anyway. Things were really fucked up and just bad. We're not getting paid, or at least I'm not anyway. I've had checks written that did not have my name written at the bottom, and a bunch of other fucked up shit. Brought it to his attention. Oh, I'm sorry about that. This is a Friday. He doesn't get back to me till Tuesday or Wednesday when I need and rely on that money. I didn't know what I know now, looking back in retrospect. Two things. Keith wanted a boat. And this boat was from Bass Pro Shop. Nobody would co-sign for him. I, at the time, dating Miriam Santiago Gomez, spoke and said he needed a co-signer, etc., so on. She said she didn't trust him. I was like, give him the benefit of the doubt. So, her being the brains, where I'm not too smart with things, certain aspects, yeah, said, I'm not going to sit here and give him that opportunity. I'm not going to co-sign anything because it can mess my credit up. I'm like, all right. Explain to him. He flipped out, got pissed off. That night, 5 p.m., Pat Brennan drove me home. Said, take off your shirt, your tools, etc., so on. He said, you're fired. I'm like, over somebody not co-signing. That's really fucked up. I did so. A lot of games being played. I don't know why. So, there's a friend I met in Pennsylvania that I talked to. We go to dinner while we stayed there. And there's a mutual agreement, we were friendly with each other. It almost got to the point of sexual, but did not. We sent pictures back and forth, talked to one another. And I was down at my time because my ex, being in Spain for a year, I needed somebody to talk to. So I'm talking to this Chrissy McGabe woman who was working with Steve, a guy named Steve. He owned a lot of the properties in drug houses. So he did a contract with him, so on. And forgive me for the pause and delays. I'm chasing cats around here. So I explained to her what's going on, how crazy the situation is, and so on. We got to the mall, to the movies, see Finding Nemo, or whatever, Dory. Getting away from the bullshit. I've had people make crazy allegations when I'm at work, saying this, saying that. I've had people just do stuff they shouldn't be doing. I've had Keith pull me aside and say, what drugs do you use? And I'm like, seriously? He's like, I'm not using. I used to smoke weed, and I quit that for my girlfriend. He's like, okay. He's like, what's everybody else using? Now, whether I knew that or not, I'm not getting involved in that. I've also had an individual try to sit here and ask if I can get him pills, etc., so on. It was Dante Jones' friend. Ignored him. A lot of this crap was happening. Still wasn't getting paid and was getting ripped off, according to my ex. I'm not a professional painter, but the rate that I'm painting, I should be. So, Sheila becomes very nice with me after she comes to my apartment at 4:30 in the morning. Why does Keith come here? What is he doing? Etc., so on. I don't understand this. I don't understand that. And I explained to her, I got my own problems in life. I'm kind of devastated from what happened in 2012. I lost a brother to suicide, and a few other issues that are bothering me. Her words were, you don't want to fuck with me. I make a bad enemy, so on and so on. You know, and all this black magic horse shit, which was just fairy tale stuff to me. So, she takes me and drives around to a corner house somewhere by back Maryland, because I live in Connecticut. I explained to her, she starts crying. She's like, I had no idea. I was like, I don't know why your husband's coming here or what he's doing, but I'm not involved in his horse shit. He drops me off and he leaves. Simple as that. She's like, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. So on. Figured I had a friend. The whole bullshit with Keith and Sheila is starting to come together now. So, I sat here, and I play a lot of video games in life. I don't bother people. PlayStation, and I buy an excessive amount, more than I should. I sell my PS4 because I was struggling. I was not getting paid, nothing. Had no choice. Explained to them I don't get enough money to actually buy a PS4, so they knew somebody at Aaron's, a family member. Went to Aaron's, figured I had a job, I had money, so on. Signed the contract for the PlayStation 4, combo unit with 2 games. And I'm like, cool. You know, so much a month, no problem. A little pricey, but it is what it is. While I'm sitting there playing this, enjoying it, I'm not getting called into work. I'm informed by other people that at work, they're working still when I'm told it's not in Pennsylvania by Chrissy. You know, I call Keith and like, how's PA? He flips out, who the F is telling you this, that, etc., so on. I'm like, but that's cute. So, Sheila starts texting me, befriending me. Wayne, this, that, etc., you know, you're such a good guy. I'm like, alright, I'll buy it for what it is. You know, you're being nice. I'll bite. So, telling her about how I miss Marion, how I miss other things, so on. And how it's killing me that she's not in my life. You know, she showed me pictures of cakes she makes, this, that, etc. And I explained to her, I'm having problems with the PlayStation. I'm not going to be able to pay for it. She says, give it to me, and I'll turn it in to Aaron's. I figured it's my responsibility. I should honor that. Still not called in. Call Aaron's in Atlantic City. Explain I can't get to the Egg Harbor City store. That I want to turn a PlayStation in. Guys, like, that's the most honest thing I've ever heard. I was like, well, my boss is a dope fiend, pill popping drug addict, and I can't pay. Bottom line. I would say, can I bring it to the Atlantic City store since I'm not available or have transportation to get to Egg Harbor Township or whatever it is? It says no problem. She keeps texting me, do you have the PlayStation? I'm like, yeah, I talked to what you call it, and I'll turn it in myself. They have no problem. No, we'll do that. We'll do that. So, they do it. Sheila pulls up, and she's like, I'll turn it in for you, so you don't have to go out there. I was like, I don't have to. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry, it wasn't Sheila, it was Keith. Keith pulls up, so you got that PlayStation? Had everything in there, but I forgot the headphones. I actually texted him, and it's like, I forgot the headphones, make sure everything's there. Called Aaron's, they were like, nothing has been returned or given back. All right, a little worried. Text Sheila. I'm like, Sheila, what is going on? I was like, I'm talking to Aaron's and it's not there. She's putting blame on Keith, saying Keith is the issue. He's liability. She told him to give it back and he won't. And one of the people that they're related to knows of it. I'm like, all right. Took her for her word. I was like, I'm not going to be liable for something that's bullshit. So I'm looking at everything in general. It's tax time. It's April and I don't have a tax return to file. Call her up and text her. I'm like, this is horseshit. Where is my return? She's like, well, there was a problem. There's an issue. And this is all through Facebook Messenger. You know, the issue is this. I can't do such and such. All right. Give you the benefit of the doubt. Now, this whole time, I have no food in my house. She comes up with her one son, Blake Nunez, I believe his name is. So we're talking to one another. Hey, buddy, this. Hey, buddy, that. You know, coming at me as if he's gay. Just very strange, odd bird stuff. So we're talking. Now, at the time, I picked marijuana back up, started smoking again. You know. He's coming over more and more. You know, buddy this, buddy that. And he starts asking weird questions like, are you going to sue my mom? Are you going to do this, take shit to court, so on. And I'm telling him I don't know. It depends on the situation if it's messed up. So tax comes. I don't receive nothing. I don't get calls or texts from Keith or Sheila. Finally, I get a hold of her and explain a few things, legal-wise. She tells me Nino Calabrese of Pleasantville, New Jersey messed up the taxes, etc., so on. I lose my mind. Call Nino Calabrese. I'm like, what the hell is going on with the taxes? He's like, who is this? I was like, Wayne Hoffman, employee of Colorspiration. He's like, oh, Sheila. I'm like, yes. I'm like, I still haven't received my tax return. He's like, that's Sheila's doing, not mine. You have to speak to them. I was like, I haven't. They said you're to blame. Just like when the numbers were messed up, she said, speak to the accountant. It's an accountant problem. I have to handle it that way. Crap wasn't looking right now. And from where I've been fired, unfired, for reasons that weren't even... Example, they wanted me to drive to Home Depot without a license. Pat Brennan did. And while driving, wanted me to go to Home Depot and make a purchase on the phone, which I've never done. Told him up and down, I'm refusing it, I'm refusing it, I'm refusing it. I was threatened to be fired there on the job by Pat per Keith. I don't want to be fired. I drive to Home Depot, make the sale, whatever it is, by phone. Come back. Tell them I've been followed, a cop was this, you know, it's illegal, etc. I did it straight out of fear. No bullshit. I ain't involved with these games if they are games being played. So, he talks to Keith. It's the second time I'm fired. Takes me to the house. He's like, Keith's had enough of your crying, bitching, and whining about shit. You're done, Wayne. Completely done. I don't know what to tell you. I'm like, that's fucked up. I'm having enough of all their bullshit. When her son came to me and said, listen, my mom has me coming to the house to see if you're filing a lawsuit against them. And I said no. You know, at the end of the day, he made comments like, Jerry Gagnon, my mother took under her wing and treats like a son. You could have had that too. You know. Irrelevant to all that, when you're sending your son to do that, it's messed up. Then he's sitting here, can you buy weed? Can you buy this? I've never once bought any weed and was given. Even funnier, there's a character by the name of Jared Gagnon, known drug addict, and I believe he has a sexual abuse charge on him from what I looked up. He worked for us. Complained all day long about his girlfriend that was a drug addict, and I tried to be supportive, thinking the kid was alright. So as I live here at 229 Chicago Ave, I've not spoken to him, and started getting text. Oh, well, I work such and such, and do this for a living. Oh, that's great. He's like, you still smoke weed? No, I don't. He's like, you know anybody selling or buying? I'm like, no, but I have a PlayStation for sale if you're looking for that, and I XYZ. So being a wise smartass, Jared sends me a link to YouTube. The link was a video that was blocked as soon as I checked it. And I asked him, because he said in the link, "Is this you?" Laugh out loud. Now, I'm assuming from all the bullshit that they pulled back and forth and what I seen, either they were pictures that me and Chrissy sent to one another, or they were bullshit when her son would come over. I finally had enough of all the horse shit and laid everything out to Sheila. Quote unquote, word for word. Explain what was happening, how I was fired, unfired. You have me at a pay rate, then you drop my pay rate. I go from $13 then to $10. Then you promise this and you don't do that. Up and down, left and right. I think personally the entire crew knew about it except for my dumb ass. And then I hear Keith making comments to Timothy while working in Pennsylvania. This fucking guy, he's crazy, hears voices out of his fucking mind and shit. Confronted him on that, where he wanted to play the tough guy, I'm not scared of this, I'm not scared of that, etc., so on. So, while in PA, another thing I should mention, there's three different crews, There's the huge van and Keith with the minivan. So, as we're going home, the third day working straight, no sleep, mind you. I don't know how other people did that. It's pretty obvious, though. Keith's like, ride with me. No problem. Sort of noticing while he's driving, he's nodding the fuck out. While he is nodding, he starts going in the rails. I'm like, look, enough is enough. Let me drive. No, I got this, bro. I'm good. So we're talking, and he's like, are you crazy? I'm like, no, I suffer from PTSD and etc., and it's just a detachment from things. And he's like, I think I got a touch of that too. So everything seems fine. Starts driving again. We're on the Schuylkill Expressway, and he rear ends a vehicle. I crack bones. Don't say nothing of it. Have the seatbelt on. Keith wakes up, comes to. I pull my phone out, and I start recording. Guy comes out. I can't believe this, I can't believe that. Whole time itching his face, this, that, so on. And, I'm dumbfounded. Like, this is crazy. Like, I've never worked for a company like this. So, we get back finally, like 2 a.m. Absurd at that. And he's like, we got to go back to work, which I'm like, I'm not. I'm like, this is out of control. I had the issue with my broken hand and was told per se, and a text from him, no work, no money. You in or you out. Which can be taken many ways, but on the phone it's, if you don't show up, you're fired. It was a job, the final job I was on in the Poconos, Pennsylvania. He's upstairs attempting to put in hardwood floor, something he's never done. Has me and Timothy Riley in the sub-basement remediating for mold. I'm like, don't we need a remediation license to even apply this crap? And mind you, it's just kills, so there's no remediation happening. I sit down there with Timmy, explain this is whole bullshit, the whole thing. I don't know if Timmy was in or knew what was going on, but I do know a lot of people were brought in. For example, Lindsay Weber, bisexual girl, was always up his rear. Would come to me, oh, I told Keith you're the greatest guy, you're so nice, which I was always nice to everybody. But why are you telling me all this? You're a nice guy, you're this, you're that. The issue is really messed up because I'm not asking for that. And I said, why do you need to tell Keith? Then I later find out she has ties to William Southry through Mario Formica, a local prosecutor. His father and family owned Formica Bakery. Andrew Southry, an Absecon cop, is best friends with Mario, and Bill is very close and intimate with the family. She brings that up, starts mentioning things. She's like, yeah, Andrew put me in cuffs during the wedding, etc., so on. And starts talking to me about other shit I don't want to deal with. And starts being a little vulgar on jobs. It was I, her, and a guy named Bobby. Where she takes off her white t-shirt and a bra and starts to paint. Telling me, don't you like white girls, etc., so on. And such, I'm a freak. I don't care. I have a wonderful Mexican woman in my life. You know, she ain't like me, etc. She didn't get the hint. Played a lot of games all day, back and forth, showing off. Just ignored her and did my job. I believe that was Oxford Ave, Ventnor, New Jersey, where I have pictures of the job, to be honest. Not of her, of the job. It got to the point where it was back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Lindsay, while we were in PA, called Keith where he was worried immensely, to the point shaking, and we got to leave now. And I'm like, what's the matter? I know crap is going on between them two. I don't know what happened further. And he drove me home one day and said, you're a pretty cool dude, you know, so on, so on. And he was like, it's just how I am. And talk to her about her problems. Keith always made the comment, I can't figure you out. There's nothing to figure out. Now, I'm all out of chronological order. I'm just saying some of the things so you get the general idea of what's happening. When I met them, I was working for Michelangelo's Custom Painting. My phone broke. I couldn't get a hold of Mike. It was a breakdown of communication. Couldn't call him. This phone is on, Mike's number is on the phone. My phone's dead and won't turn on. I wait there at 7-Eleven, where I'm usually picked up in the morning, and here comes their crew from Sherwin-Williams Paint. You're a painter. I'm like, yeah. He asked who I work for, told him. He asked the situation. I was like, I really don't know. He says, I can triple your pay, double it. I'm like, I'll consider it. Talk to Mike. Mike thought I left him and did whatever. Received termination, explained, and I see his point of view. So I went with Keith and them. A lot of stuff and crap has happened between employees there. Stuff that shouldn't have and just doesn't make any sense. When he asked me the whole incident where who's doing drug, etc., we were in Pennsylvania. It's a King of Prussia, Pennsylvania, at a woman's house named Barb, and I remember her husband was the former president of Goodyear Tires, who passed. When I wouldn't tell Keith anything or get involved with it, Dante Jones came to me and said, you're a real nigga at the end of the day. You didn't say anything, which it's not about that. It's about I'm not getting involved. Now, whilst on this job, him and Jose destroy a room with paint everywhere. It made no sense why for somebody who knows how to paint. It was the woman's husband's ex-office. And these two assholes are taking liquor and booze, putting it in 7-Up bottles. Don't say anything. Don't worry, I'm not involved in it. I'm sure she has cameras. A lot of crap happened. Keith comes to me, what's Jose doing, this, so on. I don't know, but he always wanted to know what Dante had on him and what Jose had on him and how he caught Jose in lies, etc. And a lot of crap happened with this job. I've been days where I wasn't paid. They said it wasn't available. Nothing. One of the final last straws was Philadelphia, PA, besides the Poconos. It was I, Pat Brennan, Keith, Sheila. She brought her 2 children, Gianni and I forget the daughter's name. Irrelevant. They were there at 3 a.m. Keith's cooked out of his mind, trying to plaster a ceiling 20 times in a row that keeps falling. She's getting upset. I'm in the basement with Pat installing a fucking sub pipe. And I hear the comment, if you know how to do all this, why can't you get a job? Because past events. Pat's talking to me. He's like, I didn't know you knew how to do all this. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, this, that, etc., so on about this. And he's kind of trashing Keith. I'm not accepting it or listening to it. We were there at 3 a.m. Finally pull out. He's flipping out on all of us. This didn't get done. Our jobs got done, but I'm a painter. I pay for a painter's wages, not doing plumbing and woodwork and carpentry, which I had to do. Also, we did a job in Brigatina, Shipford Ave. Sheila come to me and was like, there's a report of you and others using the bathroom outside exposing yourselves. I had to laugh. I'm like, I don't see how that's been possible considering there's a job site across the street with the Johnny on a spot latrine, which we used out of courtesy and respect with women and children. Fast forward, she kept insisting on it, and I was like, I want to speak to the people privately or in front of you. Wouldn't allow me. Finally, towards the end, in the apartment, when her son told me my mother is finding out if you're suing them, because when I text her on Messenger, her whole thing was, is Keith cheating on me? I don't care. That's not what I'm paid for. When she tried to give me pain pills for my broken hand, I'm not taking that. You can hand it to me and it's going in the trash. I also was helping a friend by the name of Kimberly Saunderland, somebody I went to school with, trying to clean their life up. Little did I know, there was a lot of crap between her and Keith and drugs going on in my apartment. Once again, a lot of nonsense happened, and while I was in PA, there was crap going on as I text her. Theft, this, that, so on. And enough's enough. Get out of my place. And the whole time, I'm telling her to get out. What are you going to do? Hit me? Hit me? What are you going to do? I'm not going to hit you. I'm going to take your shit and throw it to the fucking curb. You have 3 kids you're neglecting. You're going to sit here and play fuckboy around here doing drugs and whatnot. I know she was doing a lot of fucked up shit behind my back. I'd come home for somebody who doesn't have a job. She sure had video games and other things. PlayStation 4 games that new, sealed. Under Armour. Keith and her. Oh, nice Under Armour. Such and such, such and such. Can you such and such, such and such? This stems from this situation right now, and I'm going to say how and why. When I worked there, later on in the game, there was a guy named Merendino, who I still consider a friend. It's the guy I helped out in my apartment. He come to me, told me Sheila's a piece of shit. What do you think of her, this and that? And I know where it comes from. Well, I'm not playing those games. I just dislike bullshit. Eventually, I saw a side of Sean where he was doing shit that I couldn't get involved with. Him and Pat stealing shit from Wawa. And I don't know why, and I don't care. I know he smoked weed. And he would stop by. Oh, I have weed, such and such. Would you like to smoke? Well, I guess. Kimberly being there also. And, my dog died. I'm trying to be supportive. I'm playing Doom or whatnot on PlayStation. And he's telling me about the situation at hand, this, that, ups and downs. So they were residing near Bill Southry, president of Atlantic City Rescue Mission in Absecon. Stopped by, I couldn't believe it. So one morning I went over there, we grabbed Sean, walked over, introduced Bill, was like, this is William, such and such, such and such, formal greetings and whatnot. And thought nothing more of it. Now, back to the thing where I text Sheila. I brought up everything in general that was done. I brought up the PlayStation thing, how it was not reported, how blame was put on other people, how I was fired and unfired, the accidents, everything else. Now, if you're proprietor of that company, the first thing in her mouth is, let's make this fucking crystal clear. Well, actually, it was crystal. Don't be blaming Keith for everything. All these other boys had a hand in shit. Dante knew what they were doing, and it was all about money. Which, I do believe that, but I believe she's also protecting her own ass. Suddenly, her and Keith want to give people pain pills because of broken bones when you never cared before. When I was going to go to a hospital and was told, you don't come, you're fired. For the 4th time. After I informed her of a lot of this and what's going on, I was like, I'm going to have to seek a legal remedy. I don't have taxes, nothing. She blamed everybody and pushed the buck. I was like, Keith is avoiding me. He won't talk to me. He owes me money. He won't pay. Then comes by one night, and he's like, all I have is $36 to my name. That's all I own to myself. I'm like, great. So, Pat Brennan, being who Pat Brennan is, shows me a text. It's a Colorspiration overhead letter. I guess the guy somehow funded the company or backed it, I'm assuming. Because, don't quote me, but I have it saved. It's, what the fuck is going on with the supplies, Keith? I've given supplies already and now they're gone and you need more. Something's not right and I'm far from stupid along those lines. His response was, it's my guys, my workers. They're lazy, they don't do nothing, they don't do shit. I'm like, wow. Not at the time, I knew he was fucked up, but not that. Looking back at what he did was messed up. Pat showed it to me. He's like, what do you think of that? Now, I'm pretty retarded. I shouldn't say retarded. My mind's more focused towards video games, guitars, stupid stuff, and just trying to be a work mule and make money. The technicality bullshit, I don't know a lot of. I'm pretty ignorant. But looking back now at that, it's crazy crap. I'm not getting paid, not receiving nothing. And Sheila's like, you gotta do what you gotta do. So this Blake, her son, who stopped by, Mr. Piehead himself, how did he state it? Oh, you're my friend, buddy, PlayStation this, but make indirect fucked up comments, fucking PlayStation loser, this, that, etc. And brought friends over, different people, wanting to smoke weed, this, that, so on, wanting to purchase weed. Got to the point where it seemed superficial to me. With no genuine concern, I stopped by his house, see how the kid was. He treated this kid like crap. It's messed up. So, one night we're sitting there and his mom says that, are you going to blackmail? I was like, blackmail? He's like, yeah. I was like, dude, I'm not blackmailing. I was like, it's fucked up what they did. And I told him straight out. He's like, are you serious? I'm like, dead serious. He's like, I ain't out to hurt anybody, but I'm sitting here starving and she brings me a thing of bologna and bread for a month. I work for money, I'm not getting paid. I can't file my taxes, which is going to fall back on me. And she's putting blame on somebody else. Crazy. When I wasn't working, at all. I sat there, we was going through a lot of emotions and why are people the way they are and just being dumbfounded by things. Sean always kept in contact and would stop by, you know. I'm looking back now, I'm assuming that girl Kimberly was either selling out of my place. I can't confirm that, but knowing what she did. And I saw a text one night on her phone while she was texting, and it was Uncle Bob, bring me 2 of them. I asked her what it was, and she said heroin. I'm like, oh, that's great. In my fucking place? Besides that, I come home, and she has a stranger in my place with her shoes off on my couch. Just crazy shit. My shit's taken down. Her shit's put up. This nutty crap. So, Bill Southry knew she was there, and I was helping her explain it was an old friend from Millville High School, and she's pretty much strung the fuck out. You know. Another thing she tried to constantly offer was sex. Constantly. And I'm like, listen, do you have diseases? Do you have anything whatsoever at all? No, I'm clean. You know, I don't smell funk off her, and, you know, she bathes, and so we had sex. And I couldn't understand why Keith and other people were starting to get involved in my life. I lived on the first floor, and there was an air conditioner. And, you know, I was the first window in the front of the building. One night, I hear Keith yelling, Wayne Dizzy, yo, come out, with a paper towel full of pills. He's like, what's up? He wants to know, dude, I'm good. Then I have her pushing this gabapentin crap at me. You know? And I'm like, oh, it makes no logical sense. Fast forward now, Sean's homeless. We're about to be homeless. He's like, me and Mom are staying in a hotel with a friend. I'm like, oh, that's fucked up. I'm like, well, what are you guys doing? He's like, I don't know, man. I was like, how many people? He's like, there's 2 people, her and her husband. And I'm like, wow. So, I don't have the biggest place, but it's my friend at the end of the day. And I don't have much to offer, but I'm talking to him, and I'm like, you know, let me think about it. And I thought, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe it's mutually beneficial. We can help each other out in this time to survive. So I said, look, you're more than welcome to stay here. You know, tell your mom it's all right. I met her once, you know, with chicken and other shit. She used to cook for us. So he's like, I got my aunt with me. I'm like, all right. Denise Byus. I'm like, okay. I was like, what's the story? He's like, you know, she's from Florida. Her husband's beating her up, this, that, so on. And I'm like, that's fucked up. Well, here's where the 2 stories tonight kind of got confirmed and showed what's happening. My stuff has already been reported through whistleblower claim, etc. Since I've been here with Toni, a lot of crap has happened. In my latest thing, I explained how I lost my place through Denise and Bonnie. When they were staying there, Bonnie collected Social Security, so did Denise. The stories I was given was she had a abusive man in Florida named Russell Workman, or something along those lines. The stories just didn't make sense, and I ignored them. Offered in my bedroom, where both of them could sleep in the queen-size bed, Sean in the recliner, and I on the floor. Everything seemed fine. They asked, can we do? I don't need or want anything from you. You know, save your money, fix your truck, because their truck was broken according to them. And I'm giving them an opportunity. Sean's my boy. We're chilling and everything, you know. I had issues with him at first when he's yelling vulgarities out of the window. That shouldn't be yelled, period, and I had a problem with. They start with N and with er. If you have a problem, you go talk to that person. Don't yell at my window pulling that shit. I got major issues with some things. Another one was Sean kept saying, "So, you have a gun here?" I'm like, "No." And you're like, "People say you got a gun." I was like, "I don't have guns." You can go through my whole place, which they did because I was robbed. I can assume it's them. I can't point a finger though. So, fast forward, everything seems cool there. His mom comes out with pills and a grinder. I didn't know what it was at first. I do now. It's a grinder for grinding pills with a straw. And I'm like, the fuck is this, cocaine? And Sean tells his mother, "Mom," I quote, "he don't mess with nothing but weed." I'm telling you. She's like, "Yeah, okay." Push it aside. Let them do whatever. I said, "Look, I don't give a fuck what you do. Don't advertise. Don't do it around me. And be away from me. Don't bring it outside or in the building." I asked them also to stop. Or if they do it where I don't know about it. So I don't have to sit here and tell the truth or lie. Fast forward, time's passing by. I go out, see my buddies, hang with them, come back. You know, crap's crazy. They're just all over the place. Sean's always going, asking Denise for $60, which I found out later was for heroin. Now, Sean's a very good dude and has a great heart. I think he may have been trying to forewarn me about stuff because one thing he told me, and he quote said, because he knew how much I love the video games, he's like, "You did not hear this from me. The PlayStation that you returned has not been given back. Sheila and Keith gave it to Gianni, and he plays it to this day." Kind of blew my mind. So another thing is Bonnie did not want what would be her grandson, Blake. Bonnie is Keith's stepmother. Didn't want Blake at the house for knowing that they were there. I'm like, that's odd. It's your grandson. Or whoever. Or whatever the connection is. Me and Sean go over there. I'm like, "Hey, buddy, what's going on?" He walks over, bring a couple friends over. Bonnie looked like she saw a ghost. "Don't tell your mom that I'm here and this and that and up and down and left and right." I'm like, all right. Bonnie starts having dealings with a friend of Blake's. I was incarcerated with this gentleman. The way he acted in county jail contradict how he acted there. It's as if he was better than everybody and some kingpin weed drug dealer. Bonnie's buying weed off him. So on, so on, so on. And I'm like, So, fast forward. I find out and talking to Denise. She's like, "I have mental health problems and I'm HIV positive," which I was forewarned about with Sean. She explains her situation. I once had a guy named Wayne, and he died. I'm like, "How did he die?" She's like, "He had HIV, was given HIV, and died from it. It wasn't her fault. There was a bunch of bullshit back and forth." And the stories made no sense. But whilst I was there sleeping, I remember laying on the floor one night playing my PlayStation Vita. And Denise comes out. And I don't hear anybody in the apartment because of the carpeting and whatnot. And scares the shit out of me. Sits next to me. Starts talking all this stuff. "What are you doing?" So on, so on, so on. And it's a seduction game. I'm not trying to catch funk, HIV, or die, for one. So, I was like, "I can't mess with you. I can't do anything. Just leave me alone." And I brought up another issue where she picked scabs in my bed. I'm like, that shit's not happening. And her answer was, my HIV numbers are so low, you can't even contract it. Which is the most absurd thing I've ever heard. Anyhow, between two consensual adults, she masturbated me. Nothing more. But she tried to go down instantly and give me oral. Pushed her back. She tried it again, pushing my hands. Pushed her back again. Lost my shit. Woke up the house. So, things are acting fucking crazy in the house. I don't know what to do in life. My better half was Miriam. That was my common sense in my heart. I don't know who to turn to. And me and her kind of had like a huge fallout over mistakes that happened, just not accepting them. So, I'm seeking a relationship, and I asked both of them, Bonnie and Denise, do you know any women? I was like, not an asshole, not a scumbag, somebody who wants to settle down. I don't care if they have kids or what it is. I was like, just somebody I can have in my life that's good. Toni, Denise looks at Bonnie. What about Toni? That'd be good for Wayne. And she's got big titties. I was like, it ain't about the titties. It's about, is she a good person at the end of the day? So we're talking over Messenger, and I see a lot of crazy stuff being said, this and that, ups and downs, and weird stuff that kind of adds up now. So she's explaining I have people over my house who I later found out was a guy mentioned in the Whistleblower Act by the name of Alan Musket, a weed dealer pretty infamous around here with family and law enforcement. And another guy named Tim that she used to play for medication. Fast forward. We're talking, and I see that and hear that, and Denise tells me, oh, you didn't know? She's there with guys doing this and doing that for drugs. I'm like, bullshit. So I ask her straight out, to the point, direct, are you XYZZYX? Oh, yeah, such and such, such and such. I'm like, okay, I'll take your word for it. I've had an opportunity to speak to both of them and ask them to kindly leave a few times. Felt bad the first time. Let shit slide. Promise we won't do this. So, Toni still texted me. And she's like, oh, they say you don't want to talk to me because I was like, it's not that. If you're that person, I don't want to be involved. So she starts sending nude pictures. Breast shots. I'm looking, and I'm like, what the hell? Now, I don't mind that at all. You know, it's confidential. I'm not showing anyone. With that being said, she's like, I do want a relationship. I want a stable man in my life, XYZ, ZYX. And I bought it and listened. She tells me Denise is nothing but a manipulator, this, that, up, down, left, right. And I'm like, you know, there's pill shit going on here. There's this shit. You know, I'm having issues. So, got to the point where she was like, can I see a picture of you? I sent her a picture. No, I'm nude. Just a picture of me. And, we're talking more, and she invites me over. I'm like, cool, awesome. So she's interested. I come over here. The two gentlemen I referred to were here with weed in the kitchen, cooking in front of their parents. I'm like, okay, maybe they're hippies. And she brought a woman named Noelle with her. So she kind of ignored me most of the night, then talked with me. Also, with her son in the bed, she tried the sexual act, which I brought up, and who would do that, etc. The next morning, with all the horse crap through the house, she had her spend the night. She was on one side. Oh, I'm sorry. I get those two things. That was the second time. I apologize. First time was your son. Second time was Noel. So I sat up most of the night, spooned dirt, and fell asleep while Zachary was in the bed. She tried engaging in sex. If anybody can hear the tone of my voice, I did not, nor would I ever consider I had a mother like that. Also, there was a lot of indirect jokey stuff that I didn't get going on. There was also people like Ida, Alan, and the other guy, Tim. Tim was putting a lot of my personal business out there, saying that he had a similar situation, which I found out later wasn't. So a lot of sexual downgrading was put out there, and I just turned around and said to him, I'm not a porn star, never claimed to be. He's like, oh, it's not about that, dude. So private stuff that I've talked to about her was mentioned. I'm like, okay. And he's like, oh, so you like a hairy pussy? And I'm like, yeah, at the end of the day, I'd rather see a woman than that bald shit. And starts laughing. He's like, oh, so your girlfriend died, this and that, etc. I never told him the story of how she was a drug addict and the truth that I left because of that. And it's none of their business personally. With that being said, the next morning I woke her up, went to get a ride. Nobody would pick me up. Bonnie kept ignoring me. I blew her phone up. She said, just call me, I'll pick you up. Never did. A friend of hers that worked at McDonald's named Colleen, which she was offering to stay with her, came over. I asked her if she can give me a ride. And I started to see a pattern. Now, I'm not a psychologist, but I brought up something and said, from what I see, some people are mentally or chemically addicted and use drugs to cope with ailments. And the word I received back was, I wish you didn't know how to read that. Ignored it, went home, spoke to Colleen. I don't know if she was a drug addict, but she gave me the kind of same story. I have a son, I'm struggling. I live a clean life, doing karaoke. I'm like, okay, cool. Still had doubts and suspicion. And I'm like, I'm already dealing with 3 people in the house that I'm trying to get rid of. I don't want to do it and be the bad guy, but it's going to fuck me in life. I went to the superintendent, Dan. I was like, I'm getting texts, this is going on in my place, that's going on, so on, so on, so on. He's like, there's a lot of traffic. Consider there's a camera pointed right at my door, outside, etc. And when I received that information, I didn't believe it. Bonnie starts telling me one thing, Denise tells me another thing, and Sean's not home. So Denise pulls me aside, Bonnie uses me for pills and money, etc. I'm like, I'm like, okay. I'm like, are you going from state to state getting prescriptions? And did you give somebody a virus and run? No. Listen, I'm good wife material. I'm like, whatever, at the end of the day. You told me so many lies and bullshit. And from a mental standpoint, a wackadoo. Bonnie plays the same card while Denise is out. Wayne, such and such, I missed this. My son's not the same. He uses me for all my money, etc. So when I finally had enough and brought everything to attention, Sean flipped out and was like, don't sit here and bitch about me. You have a bundle a day habit underneath his sink. I lost my lid. Blacked out, lost my lid. Sean went to the bathroom. His mother went in there screaming, yelling back and forth. I'm getting knocks on my door talking about eviction. I'm like, are you kidding me? I don't understand why. And I was really given no specific reason. I'm like, eviction for what? I went to Bill, explained to him what they were in, who they were. I also explained to him about my boss. Told him he wasn't paying me. And I was told by both of them, they've spoken and there's no problem. The rent's taken care of. One says one thing and another says another. with all this happening and all the horse crap, I called Bill. I'm like, what's going on? I'm like, because of people's horse shit, you're going to do this. You're going to play these games. I was like, I'm living in an apartment that's substandard, which is irrelevant to what was brought up, but it was just violation shit. And I brought up the fact that you're not going to charge me. But then 3 o'clock in the morning come to me talking about I need $300 for the rent. When I find out you charge another guy $500 for a smaller room. A bunch of games and bullshit back and forth. So, more and more shit's becoming opened. And that's it. So I'm going through it. Toni texts again, we want to come over? Yeah, because I don't know what to do now. I'm hearing a few things. You've denied them when I asked. And I want to know the truth. I'm told, yes, I was there. She owed me bills. Also, Carrie Summers drove her there to pick them up from Denise, where she smoked them out front of the building near a fucking school zone. It don't even matter. It's just fucked up, period. No matter if it's a school zone or a desert. She's like, yes, I did that, but they're doing this, they're etc., etc., etc. Point blank is, I'm almost positive Bonnie intentionally did a lot of shit. So Toni tonight kind of breaks down a lot of what's happening. Everything that I've been said indirect at, from my identity be stolen and so on, I'm 100% positive stems from Keith and them knowing everybody. And I'm going to bring up another fact. It seemed that everybody in her circle is in theirs, I noticed on Facebook. And I received an invitation one night from Shela in a group. It was Shela and some young girl. I don't know who the fuck it was. But later I looked it up to see. Apparently she lived near them, and her mother was a drug addict who knew Toni. So I'm like, why am I in a group chat? And the girl says, I don't know, Sheila put us in here. And I'm okay. I was like, well, it's nice to meet you. Take care. Start looking into who this child is. And I'm like, Sheila, why would you do that? Oh, I don't know. That was weird. It personally looks like intentional sabotage was happening. Just like this incident with Toni. I went through it with admission, and I went through it with Colorspiration. Colorspiration, I have text to confirm all this in the crap. I have videos of Keith getting into the accident, my ribs being cracked. I've informed Sheila, who did nothing. And if I had to take a guess, I'm not a cop, and my problem is I try to look too much into things and figure them out. I think she thought I was going to go according to like her son said and tell, which I was. You know, at the end of the day, you're playing games. But then people are playing off my naivety and my niceness. So I get here now, explain the situation. And I'm like, it's fucked up. They're saying this, you're saying that. At the end of the day, I'm the one who suffers. Oh, such and such, such and such. Now, another thing I want to bring up is, while Toni and I engaged in sexual acts, she would aim a phone at me while I was, having oral intercourse with her vagina. And I'm like, who the fuck are you? What are you doing? And I was like, I don't mind at the end of the day. And I say, but what are you doing? Oh, nothing. I just, such and such feels so good. I'm like, uh-huh. But I started noticing things on Facebook that now I know are indirect. Such as mentally ill person, crazy this, pray for mental illness. When it's a direct slap in the face. If you read the whistleblower claim that I filed, it confirms what happened in this house to a T. From just seeing stuff that wasn't right and not knowing what to do, I recorded it, not for blackmail, entrapment, fear, not understanding or knowing. And when you have people lying to you and covering a lie with a lie, telling other people that you're a murderer, you're a killer, you've threatened people. Example, this Al guy came over one night. She's smoking crack over at a woman named Lisa's house. She's like, we need money, baby, for cigarettes. I'm like, all right. I was like, so what? Here comes Al with $60. Playing PlayStation 3 at the time, and he throws it at me. He's like, there. I was like, what the hell is this for? He's like, you pay it back. I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, yeah, we got it. Whole time, my name's getting slandered as I'm a crackhead. Whether these people knew that, I think they did. And I think people played off of that because he made fucked up comments about my personal status. He knew the ins and outs of my sexual relationship with her. Too much about me. He also asked me, and him and her dad were in the kitchen joking. And I mentioned the mission thing to her to a degree and how much it fucked me and affected me. So, Al's like, I call the FBI, do this, do that, huh? I'm like, it's irrelevant. So Dan, her dad, was joking. So, does your sister know any people in Trenton? I was like, why would she? That's where the police academy is. That's when comments are being made, you fuck like an old man, this and that, and such and such, such and such. While I have people coming to me, she's prostituting around town. I'm like, okay. I have one of her close friends saying she's kissing her ex over a Wawa while I'm at home watching kids. I have people telling me to run, not why. And there's a bunch of horse shit going on. And it's messed up because the whole time, I think a bunch of lies have been created and prosecutors have been involved in the past where I've blew whistle and exposed a lot of violations on civil rights, constitutional law, which was violated, and oath of office by judges, prosecutors, and a district attorney. The situation is insane. I filed that not knowing the full extent of this, and tonight she breaks down the story about her ex. What she doesn't realize is she has a pattern where she says things indirectly, changes the people, changes names, so on. And I don't know if it's because people assume, have an idea, and know that's aimed at them and try to hurt them. Because when I first came to this house, there was a huddle between her daughter, two sons. The daughter come up laughing, and it's like, Weenus has no penis. I'm like, okay. She claims it's from whatever. I'm like, all right, you got that. I ignore it. I was like, it's kind of fucked up, a kid talking like that. Two brothers are laughing. She's laughing her ass off. Eventually a remark gets made, and it's, I win. I'm like, okay. Made no sense. If I'm going to sit here and do a crime, I'm not going to run from it. If I'm not, I'm going to do everything to protect myself and figure out what's going on that doesn't make sense. And I'm going to tell you this. I can confirm now there's blackmail where it's coming from and has. For some reason, when I talked to Blake and Jared when I was here, they knew all this business too. Bonnie did, so on. Also, Denise is like, I'm no longer going to be in the area, I'm leaving. Come to find out, Toni knew where Denise was the whole time. But then I have Denise telling me why she's over Julie's with her ex, Jeremy, who's playing this superficial good guy, has a business. That I'm a child abuser, and he knows all this. So a lot of it's been confirmed, and you can see it obviously. A lot of it's been backed up visual and audio. The whole family's playing games, including the mother. This is killing me knowing that I really don't have friends right now. I've been locked out of my PlayStation thing. I explained how I asked to buy things. And I was given okay by her and her father if you need something. I also found out what she did was go around telling everybody stories. The problem is I would listen to them and not say anything. Oh, I don't know why they say that, baby, such and such, such and such. Also, I know she tried some shit with the tax forms. She's withheld my mail for 3 years. I put the electricity on when she refused to pay $3,000 some odd dollars. I think it was $4,000. Found a stack of her parents' bills. Went to her dad. She's like, go to my dad and tell him. I was like, she needs help. She needs to get clean. Did I know he was fucked up like that? Absolutely not. Put the electric on. This whole time, this bitch is, oh, I want to marry you, Mrs. Hoffman. How does that sound? Took all these pictures, and I was wondering why she was putting too much into it. Facebook this, throwing it up. I love you, honey, baby, sweetie pie. And the whole time, it's a circle of junkies and criminals that I never could see that was right in front of me, who tried to blackmail me into things, tried to blackmail me into taking things, have stolen my identity. My social has been compromised. My mail I've not received in damn near 2.5 years. I've had a boss who's made all kind of fucked up Jewish remarks, this and that. I've had her children say it back and forth. I've been coerced into saying shit where it's been taken and flipped. I've lost jobs because of her. And come to find out, the other day when I approached a gentleman, we were walking to Wawa. I left her and was like, I'll be right back. Saw her ex that she complains that he used her, etc. He looks at me. He's like, I'm hearing a lot of shit. I'm like, well, at the end of the day, you can hear shit. I was like, truth has a way of coming out. So he's like, I don't know, man. Good luck on things. I'm like, all right. I also went to Steve Dash, who is city council, that she deals with. There's an issue where her other half, Hayden and Gussie, she's doing stuff with everybody. It's like she has 900 different partners, but yet nobody else knows of each other. She's had children lie. I filmed her kid making, and it's fucked up because I gave a shit about these kids. And then she makes a comment, well, you tried to have sex in the bed with them. No, I didn't. Don't even go there. I know I can attest to these facts, and this is not concocted. Look, great storytellers in this world, man. Stephen King, Dean Koontz. I ain't one of them. Look, I'm a humble guitarist that got fucking in the wrong place at the wrong time with something. I let life get at me, and I gave a fuck. When I had Murian, I did everything right. I had hope, love. Even she was messed up. And then recently I find out my ex-brother-in-law is supposedly a child molester. I know people are throwing stuff back and forth. I know my phones have been cloned and my phones have been hacked and synced to accounts. I think this stems back from Shela. And I think how it ties is this. The Colorspiration thing is when a bunch of shit happened. I called a lot of people out of wanting my money and what I'm owed. My taxes, so on. And no games. I don't know if Sean is my friend or not. I don't care at this point. I know that him, his mother, and the other one seem to be involved in dope and other bullshit. The fact is, Bonnie's Keith's mother-in-law. She's told me she's protected him, hid him, etc. And they're all drug addicts. And then Denise is sitting here, and what it looks like is you possibly attempted to give me HIV. And I saw a text that I keep bringing up to her. I'm like, what's the bullshit I read on her phone? One night I'm sitting in my own room. One's on each side of me. They rented movies from the library. I'm watching X-Men, one of the X-Men movies. They're like, we got this for you. I'm like, I've already seen it. She's texting, and I couldn't figure it out. It was Toni, And it was like he wants to play fucking games back and forth, this and that. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? And I'm so confused. And then this whole mess for 2.5 years has fucked me up a lot. But I remained strong and I tried to. You know? I knew I wasn't what people were making me out to be. I can tell you this right now. There's $16,000 owed on this house. They didn't pay the electric bill. On top of that, when I went to H&R Block to file taxes, she came with me. I don't know shit about tax laws and taxes. As I didn't work for a long time, I thought playing guitar and being in a band was cool, making money. When we're there, the woman's questioning me, do this, do that, etc. You can get more money if this. And Tony's like, put me on as a dependent. I'm like, okay, what does that do? She's like, just see what it does. I'm like, okay. I'm like, what does that do? And the woman looks at me. She's like, nothing. I don't think, really. I'm like, okay, whatever. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. How are you dependent? She's like, you work, right? And you're helping me. I'm like, yeah, true. So she made a comment the other day about taxes and doing fucked up shit. And I think somehow it's going to screw me. This also goes so damn deep that my sister, being an officer of the law who's made threats, my personal business and life with her has been brought out by Gussie and her in a car. You know, what kind of a piece of shit brother does. And the information would be nobody that knew anything about it. But me and my sister. We were like 5 or 6. And it was about being handcuffed to a mailbox. Me and my buddy Mikey did it to her. And then drank a line punch in front of her in the heat. Gussie, what kind of piece of shit does that? Then I brought up a few issues with my sister that happened as a child. And now, Toni doesn't look at me, but she's outside. We're on the porch. Towards the beginning of the relationship. And I'm like, you know, it fucks me up. She's like, well, now I feel bad doing what I'm doing, almost. I don't know how far corruption goes. But I know my sister sent me a text when my brother committed suicide. And the text went along the lines of, tell Dad and Janice if they need anything, I pray for them. I'm living in Absecon now. If you need anything, give me a shout. And I'll keep you guys in my prayers. How are you doing? I get back a bunch of convoluted horse shit. You belong dead behind bars the rest of your life. I ought to bash you and kill you. My brother's dead, etc. so on. How could you not protect me? My brother's supposed to do this. Making the same allegations that were made in the past by my stepmother. I'm to the point where I'm doing the right thing. I'm struggling and fighting. I can't even get a job because people go around slandering my shit. This is insanely big. And at the moment, she hasn't been taking care of her mother when it comes to health care. And putting blame on everything. While I'm talking to you till 4 in the morning, I can't give her her insulin shot and this. And her mother's like in and out, half fucking dead. And at the same token, when I brought it to her mother's attention, because anytime I'd have a conversation civilly in an even keeled tone, she would run in the living room, start crying, bloody murder. Her mother would get upset, start screaming. Then, Mom, you don't want the kids over here. She didn't tell people I had COVID. She didn't tell people I was half dead. She's told people that I'm a murderer. I've threatened. I put fucking weapons to her, which is the furthest bunch of bullshit I have ever heard. I'm laying there half dead with my legs swollen 10 times in size, can't breathe, no voice. And then her other crazy nut job friend comes over wanting to take a picture of me and my boxers with a cat. Are you sick? There's a lot of fucked up shit going on, and this is huge and big. I'm being sincere and I'm being honest. It involves taxes, money, fraud, embezzlement, and it looks like attempted murder. I'm not even playing from what I see. Tracing it back from Colorspiration till now, it does. And when I'm telling her the story of everything, she's using every bit against me. So, I don't know the final outcome of what's going to happen. I thought my father was honest. Maybe I'm Wrong. I know there's been investigators to this house. Tonight she sat here and told me about her ex cheating, all this other crap, and she's referring to me because the crap she said, people have come to me and been like, how are you not supportive? You lay there and play video games. You don't get involved with the kids. And truth of the matter is, that's all false. I don't get involved with the kids because of the rudeness, the ignorance. Just for example, I have a stomach issue, believed to be a tumor. Her and I are laying in the room, poking me in the stomach, poking me. Crying, I'm like, knock it off, it's killing me. Does it, start smirking, giggling, laughing. No fist, no feet. I put her in a leg restraint. And when I got her in a leg restraint in the midsection, I restrain her arms behind her. Yeah, I'm yelling. But when she starts screaming bloody murder and her daughter, who never comes here on certain days only, Mommy, what's the matter? I have people coming to me. She says that you beat her, you did this, you did this. Shit is cause for a reason. I think once her family found out that I was starting to figure or had whatever I had, not knowing it at the time, but I knew it was off. Well, I know it now because tonight she confirmed in audio. I don't know what drug she's on, but she's completely trashed when I came in. And she's putting all kind of business out there. She also has $16,000 in taxes that haven't been paid. She's trying to get her sister to sell the house to the city council where they'll buy it out, where it doesn't affect nobody's credit. And the whole time, I can't go to the mission and stay, and they knew this. I don't have a family technically. And my credit's destroyed, but I can't even basically get a job or rent a place. That's great and grand. All the while, Jeremy's been playing the hero. There's a lot of fucked up shit that goes on. It also seems that the neighbor's involved in it. Two sides are being told. If anybody believes and hears these words, I'm willing to work with anybody who's honest and not on bullshit. No games. Put it as is. Go above and beyond to prove this. Present over facts from Colorspiration, to taxes, to messing up the taxes, withholding pay, working in and out of state. It looks fucked up. I knew embezzling was happening with them, but not continuing. And people were concealing and hiding people like Denise. Know this. I'm not a criminal, and these acts and allegations aren't right. It's August 1st. I was informed after I went down to Reed Cramer's. He looked at me and said, good luck. Her demeanor changed. She looked at me and said, well, there you have the fucking truth. Now you got to get the fuck out and find another place to live. Started crying. Goes to him. He's like, I still love you. Remember that. She's obviously been using her sexual charm because she went to his wife, Amy now, when I was walking one day with her, and put all of his business. Oh, he's cheated and done this. It's a lot of dangerous angle playing. So we got back to the house. I'm like, what was that about? I got to get it. She's like, I didn't say I said we. She placed her mother in the hospital to put her back in a nursing home. The whole time she acted and impersonated her mother to put money on a card. I can figure this out now. It's not hard. So that way the nursing home would not get any of it. It would go to her. When I was offered anything, I would take them on that offer, but now it's being flipped per a conversation between her and her father. Write down every fucking penny he spends and in her comment. Besides documented evidence I have on her, what I did was every lie she's presented, I didn't bring up what I know. I questioned her on everything, where she actually said truth of the matter and facts. Didn't realize it. When I brought that to her attention, she said she was under duress. So, this is the reason I have to approach shit the way I do. I went to Steve Dash, who's the ex-father-in-law, and she made the comment, you can't get me in trouble, this and that, etc. So on. You want to tell people I got arrested for prostitution, which I never did, but makes me wonder if she truly did now. Steve Dash will give me the best lawyer. I get a slap on the wrist and get away with it. She's also made mistakes saying, how can you prove that I made fucking Hayden, which is Denny, her ex-husband, get that loan and grant or the loan? Can anybody prove that? Yeah, they sure can. How can people prove I had Jeremy file my taxes on TurboTax and just told him what to fill out? Can they prove that? Yes. I seen a pattern and I had to take my best judgment. And if shit ever came to this, I was coming straight to authorities. I hope people truly see this for what it is and what she is. These tie together through Sheila Merendino, Keith Merendino, and employees of Colorspiration LlC. Through Bonnie Dix, Sean Merendino, and Denise Byus. Bonnie is Keith's mother-in-law. The father is also a drug addict, hugely known fact. Sean, I don't know what Sean is. It's Sean. He was my buddy, and I hope he still is. Denise knew Toni from past stories of how they would treat women like this, do that, dance in front of him naked, etc. But he was so ill. They both knew. And what I believe is the guy was given the shit intentionally and she ran. I also believe she gave this guy in Florida this. Hence they made the comment, Wayne, will you come with us to Florida to pick up the stuff? Because this guy, he threatened her. Problem is, as a 70-year-old man, why do you need me? I'm not going to bully or pick on somebody. That's your own problem. I believe it would have been set up. But there's a lot of heinous shit going on. And there are corrupt officials. I hope somebody gets through this before shit starts hitting the fan. Because I got a feeling Toni and Jeremy and the kids. I noticed Toni went to Dyfus. My phones was cloned. She had all my information. I noticed she one morning had her daughter's phone in the house, looking through everything. She panicked when she saw us behind her. I was like, what are you looking for? She's like, oh, something Jeremy sent. I'm like, uh-huh. She's like, a picture. I'm like, right. So, with that being said, your daughter seemed very worried and disturbed. I'm like, let me see the phone. I'm looking at it. She's like, oh, let her see you're doing this has happened, that. I'm like, this is crazy. I'm like, what are you doing? So, I ignore it, but I'm keeping a close eye. She's in the living room, unzipping her backpack, putting something in the backpack. I ask her what it is. It's the electric bill. Why are you sending her with the electric bill? And why haven't I received it? Oh, because, listen, baby, what happened was I didn't want you to be upset and everything because of the bill that's owed. But you're lying to me the whole time. Then so happens Ryan Foster, who made all the fucking racial remarks, played games back and forth between them, and is a known cokehead behind his parents' back, wouldn't pay me at all. Makes all these allegations about pills, and this is shit that she's buying from people. There's a lot of blackmail going on, man. And it's funny because she would sit here, oh, baby, I got such and such many pills. And the next day he would happen to say what it was. I'm like, that's... And I swore my phone was tapped. I really did. Because I seen him on my phone at work messing with it and called him out. I didn't touch your phone. I didn't touch your phone. And I'm like, all right. So, that day that I'm like, I'm done. I'm out. I called the FBI of Northfield. Everybody circumvented shit. Found out Jeremy and Gussie were down at the school where she supposedly made an allegation against Jeremy. My boss pulls up. I am so sorry, dude. I blamed you for everything. I have heard him on the phone with his father. He's a junkie. He's in a ditch. Really fucked up. Anything but. And the whole time, Tony's like, he don't trust you. Of course she knows, and she knows why. I got the guy telling me him and another woman are going to come there. Came to his house saying he's going to kill himself, this and that. He's going to hurt kids. And when I eventually started coming to him about the illegal shit that's happened, asking advice, he's playing back and forth. And she tells me when I confirm this, Can he prove it? Can he prove I talked to him? And the whole time, it's not me, it's other people. Through her actions, I assure you, she knew what she was doing. She's far from dumb, but for some reason utilizes shit wrong. Also, the neighbors are being involved. She told people I don't want her children here because I hate them, this and that, when in fact I had coronavirus, which was blatantly obvious. I'm not trying to get anyone sick. She still brings the children here. Doesn't tell people that I'm ill or it's bullshit. When I had to call the ER, the CD, what is it, Center for Disease Control, and other things, explain my symptoms, dates, times, everything. It's no game. This person and other people I've seen are dangerous. I don't know if they're undercover informants. I don't know what they're doing. I know what I can prove now. And she kind of confessed 3 times over. And tonight she explained why with a motive. She wanted a father figure for her house. And how she exploited Denny, saying it was Denny and Reed with money. It's fucked up, it's messed up, and it's happened to me. If anybody hears this, this is Wayne Irvin Hoffman, 229 Chicago Ave, Egg Harbor City, New Jersey, 08215. I'm under arrest and have been. I have been threatened. I have been isolated. And now I'm almost positive I may have a sexually disease like HIV. After I was told that's what you get for sticking your dick in crazy. Please, somebody, look into this because I don't know where I'm going to go or what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to lay low and get away from the situation so nothing goes further because everything people have told me is coming true. Facts have been put out there and people have been called now. And I'm trying to avoid it and get away from it because the house is trying to be pushed off by the ex-father-in-law who's on council, who's got to vote on it, which he can't. So the other guy, Reed, she knows, is on city council and is going to start applying towards it and other people. It's really messed up. And the whole time her and Jeremy have been scheming, scams, writing U-Haul tickets for fucked up shit, fake U-Haul tickets on his business organization. It's messed up. And kids are involved and kids are lying. I can confirm. If you're honest, talk to me. Take the information. Please work with me. I need help. Also from corruption that I can't fight myself. I'm not guilty of what I'm accusing. I'm a fucking victim. Once again, it's Wayne Hoffman. August 2nd now. 2020. Under duress. This will be uploaded to YouTube. Also, please look. I filed a whistleblower claim. Please look at that. It's case number 15962-959-573. It's all been filed in order to understanding from when I lost my place to now. Now, a dumbass confirmed everything. If corruption's not involved, please help me because I know the 2 phones that we have are tapped. I don't know who or why. I hope it's for good reasons and honest reasons. There's a lot at stake here, and I'm willing to work with anybody to get my life credentials back. And I will help anybody prosecute anybody to the fullest extent of this bullshit. My life is worth something. I didn't ask for this. And the worst part is, I can't even go back to my ex Marion. Her brother's a child molester. Are you kidding me? I don't know what to do, but please, I'm trying to get to someone honest before shit blows up and gets messed up. I'll turn over everything, and it was never meant for any reason, as she told people, so I can blackmail. And I threatened her with the police to get her sober. She took what she thought I had and ran with it. I can confirm the lies. I can confirm evidence. I have conversations, a lot of other things. This time it's not going nowhere but my hands. Anybody out there listening? I will not deal with Atlantic County, the district attorney, anybody involved with the prosecutors as of what's happened before. Look at what was filed with the Whistleblower Act. And a final thing I sent to my father. Shall anything happen? I also don't know if my father's involved, but I know my sister's pretty damn corrupt. There's a lot of people using people. Wayne Hoffman saying, I'll give anything for help right now. It's not a joke, games. These are facts. Goodbye, guys.